3.7 million years ago, the African continent was a vast wilderness, a cradle of creation and of endless peril. The Golden Plain stretched far beyond the horizon, alive with the hum of insects, the cry of distant beasts, and the eternal struggle for survival. Here, every life form was bound by one law: adapt or perish. Among the herds of grazing herbivores and the shadows of ancient predators, a new kind of creature had begun to emerge. They were not the strongest, nor the fastest, but they carried something different: intelligence. This was Homo habilis, one of the earliest members of the human family. Small, hairy, and primitive, Homo habilis lived in small bands scattered across the savanna. They crafted tools from stone and bone, scavenged for meat, and relied on cooperation to survive. Their survival depended on a blend of ingenuity and teamwork. They moved in groups, communicating with a language of grunts and gestures, their numbers providing a small measure of safety. A lone hyena might be deterred by several shouting, stick-waving hominins. This was their edge, not claws or fangs, but the burgeoning power of a collective mind. But despite their growing intelligence, the world around them remained untamed, unforgiving, and ruled by creatures far older, far more dangerous. Beneath the tall grass, something ancient stirred. It slithered with purpose, its scales shimmering under the fading sun. A serpent, but not like any seen today. Its venom could kill a large mammal in minutes. Its hood flared like a warning flag of death. Unaware of the danger, he knelt near a termite mound, prying it open with a stick. The air grew still, even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Then, movement, swift and silent. The cobra rose from the grass, towering above the small hominin. Its hiss echoed like thunder across the plain. Screamed danger, but his body hesitated. He lifted a stone tool, crude, blunt, and waved it desperately. The serpent struck. He stumbled back, narrowly escaping the fangs. Dust filled the air as he scrambled to his feet, panting, his heart pounding like a drum of fear. Lunged a second time, its jaws slicing through the air, preparing for the final strike. There was no escape, but then, the earth trembled. A shadow swept across the savanna. From the horizon, a massive bird charged forward, its long legs pounding the ground like thunder. The ancestor of the ostrich, larger, stronger, more aggressive than its modern descendants. Drawn by the movement, it stormed toward the battle. The cobra turned, its hood flaring wide, but the bird didn't hesitate. With a powerful kick, it struck. The impact echoed through the plain. The serpent twisted, hissing in fury, then recoiled, vanishing into the tall grass. The bird stood tall, feathers ruffled, its dark eyes fixed on the fallen hominin. The young Homo habilis stared in disbelief. He didn't understand what had happened, whether this creature was a savior or another threat. In his mind, everything was instinct. But something deeper flickered: curiosity. Perhaps, for the first time, a spark of connection between two distant species. As the bird turned and disappeared into the horizon, the wounded hominin rose, trembling, clutching his bleeding arm. The savanna fell silent once again, calm, but never safe. As dusk fell over the ancient plains, the savanna turned cold and quiet. The wind slowed, the light faded, and the cries of distant predators began to echo across the land. Fangs had grazed his forearm, piercing the skin but not fully delivering its venom. The pain was sharp, his blood dark and swollen, yet somehow he had survived. The creature that struck him was no ordinary snake. It had towered over him, 4 meters of muscle and ancient power, with a hood wide enough to cast a shadow across the earth. He could still see those golden eyes when he closed his own, glowing in the darkness, patient, hungry. For in prehistoric Africa, darkness meant death. Lions, hyenas, and saber-toothed cats roamed freely beneath the stars. In the grass could be the last. Under a dawn broke, light spilled across the plain. From the mist, 3 other Homo habilis appeared, his tribe. They moved cautiously, scanning for danger. When they found him, they chattered softly. Low grunts and clicks filled with them. They found the remains of a zebra carcass, half eaten by predators. Using sharp flakes of stone, they tore the meat, sharing it in silence. The air was filled with the scent of blood and dust. Yet the memory of the serpent lingered. Even as they ate, the young one kept glancing toward the horizon, where the grass swayed unnaturally. And then, movement. A long, dark shape glided between the shadows. Hood flared, body coiling, its golden eyes fixed on the group. The hiss it unleashed was deep and resonant, like thunder rolling across the savanna. His muscles tensed. Another grabbed a stick, shouting harsh cries to scare the monster away. For the first time, Homo habilis did not flee. They stood together, small, primitive, but united. The cobra lunged forward, striking like lightning. A stone flew, it missed. Another followed, hitting the serpent's side. Defiance. It wasn't language, but it was something more, the voice of survival. The serpent hesitated. It had hunted alone for ages, but these creatures fought as one. Primitive hands hurled stones, sticks, and screams. The cobra hissed, retreating step by step until it vanished into the tall grass once more. Silence followed, only the wind spoke now. Among the tall golden grass, the giant prehistoric cobra still hunted. It had not forgotten the tribe that had wounded its pride. For creatures like it, survival was not about anger or revenge. It was instinct, and instinct never faded. Far across the plains, the small tribe of Homo habilis had found refuge near a riverbank, a place of fresh water, trees, and shelter. But even here, safety was an illusion. They worked together, collecting branches, breaking stones, shaping crude tools. For the first time, they began to understand that stone could survive the serpent's bite. Watched the others work. His eyes were sharper now, his movements more deliberate. Air grew heavy. And then, silence. A silence too perfect to be natural. From the edge of the grass, a ripple of movement before, the hood wide, black shadows spreading across its scales. It had grown hungrier, more desperate, drawn by the scent of meat, blood, and the tribe that dared defy it. The others. The tribe turned, their primitive eyes widening in terror. The cobra moved closer, tongue flicking, tasting their fear. But this time, the Homo habilis were not the same. They had fire in their hearts, not literal flame, but the fire of survival. They spread out, each gripping a stone or stick. The older male shouted, a deep sound that echoed across the water. The serpent hissed back, a challenge older than time itself, furious, writhing in the dust. The young one moved closer, courage overcoming fear. He gripped a sharp-edged rock, one he had shaped hours earlier. When the serpent rose again, he struck with both hands, slashing across its side. Blood sprayed, dark and ancient. The cobra twisted violently, knocking him to the ground. Its hood flared, mouth open, venom dripping from its fangs. It struck again, but another from the tribe hurled a rock, hitting its jaw. The blow forced it back, struck, and hurled everything they had. Stones, branches, even bare hands. The serpent thrashed wildly, tearing through the reeds, shaking the ground. But the tribe did not retreat. The creature convulsed, hissed, and finally, fell silent. The savannah stilled. The only sound was the wind, carrying away the echoes of struggle. The tribe stood over the fallen body of the serpent. Their chests heaved, eyes wide, not in triumph, but in awe. For the first time, Homo habilis had faced a predator not with fear alone, but with strategy. They had used tools not just to scavenge, but to fight, to shape their destiny. The young one looked at his bloodstained hands. He didn't know the meaning of victory, but he felt it, deep, primal, unforgettable. Lay still, a relic of an age fading away. And from its fall, something new was born, the rise of intelligence. The battle was over. The savannah was quiet once more, touched only by the whisper of wind and the soft crackle of dying leaves. Where chaos had raged, silence now reigned, heavy, sacred, eternal. The body of the giant prehistoric cobra lay still beneath the fading sun, its scales dull and lifeless. Around it, the small tribe of Homo habilis stood in awe. For the first time, they looked upon death not as prey or predator, but as something greater, something final. The young one stepped closer. He reached out, touching the serpent's cold skin. Its power was gone, but its story remained, written in every scar, every mark, every memory of fear. The others gathered around him. No words passed between them, for words did not yet exist. But in their eyes was a spark, the first flicker of understanding. That life could end. That victory came with a cost. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows over the plains. The smell of blood mixed with the scent of rain on dry earth. And in that stillness, something changed within them. Each stone now carried meaning. A tool was no longer just for breaking. It was for building, for protecting, for surviving. It was thought given form. The young one lifted his stone and stared at it, the same way his kind would someday stare into fire. In his small, primal mind, something stirred, an idea, faint and new. The beginning of curiosity, the birth of awareness. As the night fell, The tribe gathered together beneath a canopy of stars. They huddled close, sharing warmth, guarding the body of the fallen serpent. The wind whispered through the grass like the breath of ancient spirits. The earth was alive, watching, remembering. But this night, none approached. Even they could sense the invisible shift, that something small and fragile had changed the balance of power. Homo Habilis had awakened. They were no longer just another creature hiding from the dark. They had faced the terror of the wild and lived. And in surviving, they had taken the first step toward becoming human. The young one looked at the horizon. He didn't know what the future held, but something in him understood. They would keep fighting, keep learning, keep evolving. For every predator that fell, a lesson was born. And from each lesson, the mind grew sharper, the will stronger, the heart more human. The great serpent would fade into legend, its bones scattered by time, its name forgotten. But in the memory of that battle, the story of humanity began. A story of survival, of courage, of change. From fear came strength, from struggle came wisdom. And from the shadow of a fallen serpent, the light of humanity began to rise.